All right, today we're going to talk about a real unsung hero in your car. It's this system that's constantly, tirelessly working in some pretty extreme conditions, all to keep your engine from, well, basically destroying itself. We're talking about the cooling system. And really understanding this thing is absolutely key if you want your engine to have a long, healthy life.
So first, let's just set the stage here. Get this, every single time you're driving, the tiny explosions happening inside your engine cylinders can hit a mind-blowing 2,000 degrees Celsius. I mean, to put that into perspective for you, that is hotter than most volcanic lava. We're talking about an environment of just incredible, violent heat, and it's happening thousands of times every minute, just a few feet away from you.
So that brings up a pretty important question, right? With all that crazy, intense heat, what in the world is stopping your engine from just warping, seizing up, and turning into a really, really expensive paperweight? Well, the answer is this beautifully simple yet unbelievably vital little network of parts and fluid.
Okay, but before we get to the hero of our story, we first have to understand the villain. And that villain is overheating. It's what I like to call the engine's silent killer. It's this threat that is always lurking in the background, just waiting to take advantage of any little weakness in the system. You see, overheating almost never happens because of just one big sudden event. Nope. It's pretty much always a system failure. You can see it here. A small leak leads to low coolant. A broken thermostat stops the coolant from flowing where it needs to go. A clogged up radiator can't get rid of the heat. Any one of these things can set off a whole chain reaction of problems.
So here's the really crucial thing to get. That big, dramatic cloud of steam you see when a car is pulled over on the side of the road, that's not the real danger. That's just the final, obvious symptom. The real damage, that stuff is slow and invisible. Overheating is quietly thickening your oil, it's drying out your gaskets, it's slowly but surely wrecking your engine's efficiency and its lifespan, long before that big steamy failure ever happens.
But against this silent killer, your engine has a guardian, and that guardian is the fluid flowing through its veins. We're talking about coolant. It is literally the lifeblood of this whole operation.
And let's be super clear here, coolant is so much more than just some colored water. It's actually a pretty sophisticated chemical cocktail. It's usually a mix of glycol and a whole bunch of special additives that are designed to do way more than just cool things down. This stuff is in there actively fighting against rust, against corrosion, and even against foaming inside your engine.
So its job really boils down to three critical things. 1, it absorbs that insane 2,000-degree heat right out of the engine block. 2, it transfers that heat, carrying it all the way to the radiator. And 3, its special chemical properties stop it from freezing solid in the winter and from boiling over in the summer. It really is a true multitasker.
Okay, so we've established that the coolant is our hero, but it can't work alone. Not at all. It's part of a team, a whole network, where every single part has a specific job to do. So let's take a look at how this system all works together to keep your engine in that perfect temperature sweet spot.
It all kicks off with the mover, the water pump. Seriously, just think of this thing as the heart of the entire system. Its one and only job is to keep that coolant moving, constantly circulating and pushing it through all those little passages inside the engine to soak up all that heat.
All right, next up, we have the gatekeeper, the thermostat. And this is a really clever little valve. It stays shut when your engine is cold, which actually helps it warm up faster. But then, once the engine hits that perfect operating temperature, boom! The thermostat opens up and lets the coolant flow out to the radiator. It's kind of like the system's brain.
And that brings us to the radiator. This is really where the magic happens. This is the spot where all that heat the coolant picked up finally gets released into the air. See, the hot fluid flows through all these tiny little tubes that are surrounded by these thin metal fins, and that creates a huge surface area to just dump heat as the air flows past.
But of course, what happens when you're just sitting in traffic? There's no air moving through, right? Well, that's where the airflow assistant comes in. The cooling fan kicks on automatically to literally pull air through the radiator. It makes sure that the cooling process never, ever stops, even when you do. So the big takeaway here is that all of these parts have to work in perfect harmony. It's like a domino effect. A failing water pump? No flow. A thermostat that's stuck shut? The coolant never gets cooled. A broken fan? You're going to overheat in traffic. Just one single failure can, and believe me, it will, start a chain reaction that brings the entire system crashing down. Okay, so how do you even know if this delicate system is in trouble? Well, the good news is your car is actually pretty good at giving you some warning signs. You just have to know what to look for and what to listen for.
These right here are the key signals. I mean, the temperature gauge climbing up into the red, that's the most obvious one for sure. But you need to use your other senses too. You know that weirdly sweet, syrupy smell after you park? That is a classic sign of a coolant leak. And inside the car, if your heater suddenly starts blowing cold air in the winter, that could mean the coolant isn't circulating right. And finally, just take a quick peek under the hood. If the coolant in the tank looks all rusty and discolored instead of clean, that's a bad sign.
But here's the really great news. You absolutely do not have to be a master mechanic to prevent most of these problems from happening. A few really simple preventative checks can save you from a massive headache and, let's be honest, an even bigger repair bill down the line.
So here it is, your simple 4-point action plan. First, about once a month, check the coolant level in the overflow tank, but please, only when the engine is completely cool. Second, make a plan to get your coolant flushed and replaced every couple of years. This makes sure all those protective additives are fresh. Third, and this one is super important, always use the specific type and color of coolant that your car's manufacturer recommends. Mixing them is a big no-no. And finally, just keep the front of your radiator clear of bugs and leaves so air can actually get through it.
And this right here just paints a really stark picture of the difference. On one side, you use the correct coolant, and it protects all the metals inside your engine. On the other side, you use the wrong stuff, or even worse, just plain water, and it can actively cause rust and corrosion. The right fluid lubricates the water pump. Water offers zero lubrication. The right fluid won't boil away. Water will just turn to steam. I mean, it's a simple choice, but it has huge consequences.
So, why does all this maintenance actually matter? What's the big deal? Well, it goes way beyond just not breaking down on the side of the highway. A healthy cooling system has a direct impact on your car's performance and on your wallet.
Think about it. An engine running at its perfect temperature is an efficient engine. That means you get better fuel economy, it means combustion is cleaner, it's smoother, and, maybe most importantly, it means all those critical parts deep inside your engine are protected from wear and tear, which all adds up to a much longer engine life.
I love this quote because it really gets to the heart of the risk. Ignoring coolant is like ignoring blood pressure. The damage builds quietly until one day it's too late. You just don't feel that damage happening day to day, right? But the threat is absolutely real, and it's building quietly in the background until one day it becomes catastrophic. And that really brings us to our final thought for today. It's a simple idea, but it's a powerful one. Every single driver remembers to put gas in the tank, right? Because if you don't, the car stops immediately. But the coolant, it is every bit as vital. It's your engine's shield against heat, against chaos, and against time itself. So don't just remember to refuel, remember to recool.